Cancer is one of the most dreaded diseases of human beings and is a major cause of death all over the world. In this picture, you can see the normal cells, and in between, what you see is a mass of abnormally proliferating cells. Those are the cancer cells giving rise to an abnormal mass called tumor. So you can see in between the normally dividing cells, we have a large mass of cells, many cells which have abnormally grown there, proliferated there, leading to that tumorous growth. So the cancer definition would be, it is abnormal proliferation of cells causing harm to the normal surrounding tissue. There are two types of tumors. Whenever this mass is formed, it may be covered by connective tissue capsule and remains confined to one region only. Whereas in malignant tumor, as you can see in the second picture, there is no such connective tissue sheath or capsule. So the first one is called benign and the second one is malignant tumor. When it comes to malignant tumor, there is a great risk of metastasis. Now, what is metastasis? It is the process of spreading of these tumorous cells or cells present in the tumor to a distant or nearby area. So, what happens here is, you can see in the picture, primary cancer is shown where the tumor has been formed. Cells from there will move through the bloodstream. They will enter into the bloodstream and now they will be carried to a distant or nearby place, and a secondary tumor, or also called metastatic tumor, will start in some other location. The tumorous cells may be carried by either blood or lymph. So in this picture, you will find primary cancer is in the abdominal region, and from there it has spread to liver and also to lung. Now let us study the causes of cancer. We have heard people telling us not to use microwaves, not to use X-rays, not to use plastics, or not to use certain chemicals. Now what does this mean? This is because all these chemicals, X-rays, certain chemicals in plastics, microwaves, they are capable of causing some harm to our genetic matter, that is DNA. And that is why the ability of the cell to undergo normal growth and division is lost and it starts proliferating abnormally. So you can see in this picture, cell phones are shown which are emitting radiations. Aerosol bottles like that of the deodorants, fresheners, room fresheners, they also have certain chemicals in them which can be carcinogenic. The word carcinogenic means cancer causing. Microwaves, certain chemicals in the plastics, they are all responsible for causing cancer. The tobacco smoke has thousands of chemicals in it, and out of that, around 70 are known to be carcinogenic. And in cigarette smokers, there's a great risk of lung cancer. Here you can see normal tissue shown, and in between you will find there is one single cell shown in fluorescent color, very clear in the second picture. That particular cell has suddenly started showing abnormal growth. Now why does this happen? It is because of something called contact inhibition. Contact inhibition means as long as all the cells are in contact with each other, they are firmly attached to each other, they undergo normal division and normal proliferation. But the minute one cell loses contact with the rest of the cells, it starts proliferating abnormally and leads to tumorous growth. This is what is known as contact inhibition. So in metastasis, you can see script of cells from the primary tumor are attached to the blood vessel. Then they make its entry by puncturing through the epithelial lining of the blood vessel, enter into the blood, and now they move through the blood flow, again puncture and come out either to a nearby area or a distant area and start the second tumor there. So this property is shown by not by benign tumors because there's a covering around it, but by malignant tumor. Another cause for cancer in human beings is something called proto-oncogenes or cellular oncogenes. So these kind of genes are present in all of us, but not in all people. They will be stimulated or triggered. So when they are triggered, proto-oncogenes are now capable of making your cells undergo rapid proliferation, and that too abnormal proliferation. Now, why they suddenly change is because of exposure to certain kind of carcinogenic substances that we have already seen. Therefore, in some people, these proto-oncogenes, when triggered by carcinogens, they turn into oncogenes. Oncogenes are known to be genes which can cause cancer in you. Another cause is viruses. Viruses also can cause cancer because they too have something called viral oncogenes, also called V-onc. Whenever this kind of viruses enter into our body cells, those viral oncogenes will make our normal cells turn into cancerous cells. So earlier it was believed that only RNA viruses are capable of doing this kind of harm to the body. But now it is known both RNA and DNA carrying viruses have oncogenes, and they are capable of making our normal cells become cancerous cells. So these are some of the examples of oncogenic viruses. Oncogenic meaning capable of causing cancer. In fact, the study of cancer is called oncology. So some of the examples of such viruses are adenoviruses, human papilloma viruses, hepatitis virus B. Now let us study about detection of cancer. The first method of detecting is blood test. If you have any kind of tumorous growth, you will find those cells moving into your blood. So this kind of blood test can be done for ovarian cancer, pancreatic cancer, liver cancer. Any cancer of any organ in your body can be detected through blood test. Blood test will then be followed by biopsy of that particular organ. Biopsy means you take a small amount of tissue of that particular organ and send it for further studies to see whether it has turned cancerous. For cancer like leukemia, which we call commonly blood cancer, can also be done through the blood count. Blood count is the number of cells are detected. If the number has gone very high, or even if the number of blood cells have gone low, it could indicate blood cancer, either leukemia or lymphoma. Followed by the blood test, a person has to undergo a bone marrow test because the blood cells are produced in the bone marrow. Another way of detecting cancer, especially in your internal organs, is CT scan or computed tomography. X-rays are used here to detect whether you have cancerous growth in any of your internal organs like brain, eye, intestine, stomach, pancreas, etc. Next is MRI scan. In MRI scan, magnetic field is used, magnetic waves are used, radio waves are used to create a 3D image of your internal organ. So there's a difference between CT scan and MRI scan, but both are giving you 3D images of your internal organs, and it can locate even a very small tumorous growth within your internal organ.